I have to admit, my life was pretty boring until about 2005. It was a Saturday, it was a beautiful day. I was living in Hawaii at the time, and I was at home. I was just working on homework. All of a sudden, the left side of my body just stopped working. I ended up going to the hospital and saying, hey, something big's happening. And they took me in right away, and a few tests later, they said, yeah, you're having a stroke. And that was it. It shocked me, it's not something that's supposed to happen to somebody who's only 24 years old. They diagnosed me with this autoimmune disease called Takayasu's arteritis, which is the inflammation of arteries. They sent me home and said, take 15 of these pills every day, and that's just going to be life from now on. And I did that for about a year, and it was killing me. And so I went back to the doctor and I said, Doc, there's got to be something else here, And they said, yeah, we can do a surgery on you. The surgery they did on me was what they call pulmonary thromboendarterectomy. I had just been recently married, and it's a difference between saying, I'll see you later and saying goodbye, and I had to do that to my family beforehand, and that was tough. So I woke up from the surgery a couple days later, and I assumed that I would be fixed, and it wasn't that case. After a while, I was back on all the same medications again, and it just kept getting worse and worse to the point where I was out of breath all the time, even when I was walking around. Probably the worst part of it was that we had a child a couple years after that, and I couldn't pick him up. So I couldn't hold my own son, and it just, as a parent, you think that, well, I'm going to take care of this person the rest of their life. And just the most simplest things, I couldn't even do that for him. And that was probably the roughest part of all of it. And I didn't know where to go from there. As a kid, we would only go to the grocery store once a month, and we'd pick up a bunch of dried goods and canned stuff, and that's just kind of the way I was brought up and what I kind of considered food to be. Right before the stroke, I was eating out a lot, probably 6 days a week, and then sometimes I would cook at home, but at the same time, a lot of it was just fast food or whatever I could get my hands on. At one point, I ran across this article that mentioned this new diet, and it was a gluten-free, whole foods kind of way of eating. Up until that point, I had never even thought of the connection between what we eat and how we feel. I never really thought about it. And I bought a couple books and started cooking, and then I started blogging about it, and it just took off from there. As I started eating a more whole foods and natural approach, I realized that I was so connected with the way I was eating and how it made me feel that I could tell if something bad was going in. And almost 9 times out of 10, it ended up being wheat that was the culprit. At that point, I realized that the best thing for me probably was to stay gluten-free. My family is the most important thing to me. It's what keeps me going, and I just want to keep supporting them and providing for them the best way that I can. I'll always have this autoimmune disease that's kind of lingering in the background, but at the same time, I've taken control of it through the way I'm eating. The greatest thing about it is every healthy decision I make gives me more energy to make more healthy decisions. And I think that's the most important part, is to find what works best for you. For me, it's eating gluten-free.